let me talk to you about sugar as well, and what the outlook is like as far as sugar is concerned, and specifically on whether we're any closer to making an announcement as far as the export quota is concerned.
See, there are three issues. Number one, of the previous sugar quota that was allowed by the government of 112 million lakh metric ton, out of that 107 lakh metric ton has already been exported, which is highest ever in the history of India. So this is credit to the government that 107 lakh metric ton sugar has already been exported, and still we are left with another 5 lakh metric ton balance quota that is available with us, and we should be in a position to meet the requirement of our neighbors in particular, and like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, all these countries' requirement comfortably we can meet, apart from meeting our own requirement. In domestic market, by the end of September this month, we will still be left with a stock about 60 lakh metric ton, which is more than adequate for meeting our requirement of next 2.5 to 3 months. And as a result of this availability of stock, we have very stable prices of the sugar in the domestic market. And as regards the quota or the policy, export policy for the next year, government is working on it, and very soon they will come out with the export policy for the next sugar season.
Okay, so we still have to wait for the government to announce the export policy as far as sugar is concerned. Let me ask you about what concerns you specifically when we talk about sowing. And, you know, we pointed out at the start of the program the latest situation as far as paddy sowing is concerned, about 6% lower year on year as of the 2nd of September. How worried are you about that, and any other specific vulnerabilities or areas of concern that you're monitoring more closely?
See, on the rice, we are not vulnerable at all. At the moment, our central pool stock position is about 230 lakh metric ton. We have availability of rice. We have about 240 lakh metric ton of wheat also. So we are comfortable in terms of stock. And the coming procurement estimate, we just had meetings with all states across India last week, and our estimation is that for the Kharif season we would be actually procuring a little more than what we procured last time. The state's estimate was about 570 lakh metric ton, but even a very conservative estimate from our side is about 510 lakh metric ton, which is almost 10 lakh metric ton more than what we procured last year. And then Rabi season will also come, where we can comfortably procure about 100 lakh metric ton. So 600 plus lakh metric ton procurement of rice is very comfortably seen in coming months, and therefore as far as rice is concerned, we are going to be in a comfortable position, and we need not worry on any account.
Okay, so no concern there as far as rice is concerned. You believe that you'll be able to procure 10 million tons more than last year. Food inflation, the general outlook on
10 lakh metric tons, 10 million.
Sorry, 10 lakh metric tons. On account of the measures already undertaken, what is the expectation in terms of food inflation? Because that, of course, continues to be on the higher side. Do you believe that we will start to see some degree of easing there, some degree of normalization starting on the back of the measures announced already?
See, we are following basically two-pronged strategy. Number one, ensuring availability. So ensuring availability, whether through the import route or through the increase in the domestic supply, is one part of the strategy. So if you ensure adequate availability, the food inflation will come down. The second part of the strategy is ensuring smooth distribution. So right from the stockist to distributor to the retail, the distribution chain, whether cereals or edible oil or some of these essential commodities, we should have very smooth and hassle-free kind of facility. So whether use of rakes by the railways are concerned, adequate number of rakes are being made available for all supplies to be taken to various parts of the country. So on both these fronts, we feel that we should be able to contain food inflation because by ensuring availability and ensuring its proper distribution, we should be able to contain prices. You have already seen that some of these prices have come down, and in future also we should be able to intervene effectively.
Mr. Pandey, let me end by asking you, I had a conversation with the MD of the IMF a few days back, and, there was a cautionary message there in terms of food protectionism, and of course also an acknowledgement of the fact that, look, India must do what it needs to do in order to protect its domestic market and its citizens as well. But perhaps there needs to be a balance. As we move down the road, in light of the concerns expressed, is there likely to be a review of not just the measures that we have undertaken, but also the manner in which the measures have been undertaken?
Let me give you some it's a very important question, and I think for everyone it's important to know. A lot was talked about wheat regulations. Before the imposition of those regulations, we had exported about 21 lakh metric ton of wheat. And after the regulation, we have exported about 24 lakh metric ton of wheat. So, and so far we have exported about 45 lakh metric ton of wheat. Why I am giving these figures, that India has been very responsible, and despite regulations, we had kept certain windows open to take care of all vulnerable countries, all our neighbors, and figures very clearly reflect that all those requirements have been very carefully met, and their needs have been satisfied. So India behaves in a very responsible manner. Situation because of the pandemic globally has been abnormal, but despite those pressures, we have been able to handle this situation in a very responsible manner. We are still largest exporter of rice with about 41% share of both basmati, non-basmati rice. And this year, our exports so far till last month were about 72 lakh metric ton, which is almost 16-18% higher than the previous year. So these regulations are basically preventing speculative trading, stocking, but genuine requirement of various countries is being met fully.
Mr. Pandey, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining us here on CNBC-TV18 and giving us a very comprehensive breakup of where things currently stand across different commodities and what the outlook is going forward. Appreciate your time. That is the Food Secretary, Sudhanshu Pandey. We will take a break here on Business 360. Don't go anywhere. We return with more news.